Okay, so Zoom seems to be super cooperative today. My mouse does not. So bear with me, you guys. I'm so sorry. Um, Here we go. Okay. And it's just a housekeeping slide. I just want to let everyone know that the webinar is being recorded. All participants come in muted, and that's just to maintain our sound quality. If you have questions, please ask them. I know that any of our speakers today would love to answer those for you and get you the information that you're looking for. So put those into the chat. If you're disconnected for some reason, you should be able to connect again. If nothing else, please go back to your registration email and call in so that you can be present and get all this incredible information. I'm going to stop sharing. You guys, this has been a long time coming. We've tried to schedule this a couple of times. I'm so grateful to Jeremy and to Letty and to Krista for being available today. Letty left her fantastic students to be here to present this information. Jeremy is with the Life Academy. He's going to tell you a bit more about that. We're going to let him go first. Krista is with the office. The name has changed some. I don't want to butcher it, but she's with McNeese and office for accessibility services. I probably got that wrong. She'll correct me, I'm sure. And then Letty is with the Prime program. So we're going to let them get started. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Jeremy can share his. We will get some handouts to you guys when this is over. But again, we're just so lucky to have our presenters today. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we will let Jeremy get started. Is it working for you?
I don't see the share function anymore.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on a moment. I'm sorry.
While she's working on that, my name is Jeremy Grant. My title for the school board, I work for the school board. Um, Life Academy is housed in McNeese, but all the teachers and staff, we all work for Calcasieu Parish School Board. By job title, I'm a program facilitator. So that means like I oversee special ed services at several schools, Sulphur ninth grade, Starks, and Bell City Elementary, and then the Life Academy. And so that's what we're gonna do. Do you figure it out? Let's see.
Wallace, do you see what the
Oh,
problem
here we go.
is?
I got it.
Oh,
I got it now.
fantastic.
Okay. All right. Is it working now?
I see it. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So let me get my other thing. All right. So Life Academy. Here we go. All right. Life Academy is a partnership between Calcasieu Parish School Board and looks like I got a spelling little there. McNeese State University provide pre-employment transition services. We got a new logo. You can see our new logo here. Two of our students, they made it, and we like our students to make them to do stuff and be a part of it. Samantha Richard and Ty Marks. This is our staff. Wendy Hill is the administrative director. Michelle LeBlanc is the supervisor. Then myself. Then we have three transition specialists: Jamisa Jones, Shanita Rollins, and Phyllis Friddle. And then we have our four teachers: Miss Maggie Duhan, Sharon Tolan, Natasha Peart, and Lauren Caldwell. Miss Wanda went back to Barb, and we have another pair in right now for a little bit. And Jay Bice is our partner, Ed, and Jay Bice is wonderful. So when you work at like Sulphur High, where I am now, or one of the other schools, you get Sitco and some of the big plants to do teacher appreciation, to cover the cost of certain things. And at Life Academy, we didn't have that. And so we've been blessed. First, we had Lee Hoffus, and then when he became a judge, Jay said, "Hey, I want a partner." And Jay is just awesome. If you guys are looking for an attorney, I'm not advocating you go see one, but he is the man. Like literally yesterday, he called me. He texted me, and he's like, "Jeremy, give me a call when you have a minute." I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "What do you need?" And so it's such a blessing. If there's something that we need that IDA won't pay for, he will pay for it. Like one of the new things I'm going to tell you about in a few minutes is we started a new thing this year with outdoor power equipment for jobs. And Jay and his wife bought all the equipment that we needed, and so it's just awesome. Jay is a true blessing. So why did we start Life Academy? We wanted a place for students to go to the next level. You when the students are 18 years old, they finish, they get their graduation requirements, they can walk. And for our students, they have cognitive disabilities, so they can stay at their high school till the day before they turn 22. But when they turn 18 and they walk across the stage, all their peers leave, and then they're left there, and then all their friends that they knew were gone. So we wanted them to be in a place where they could be with their same age peers, where they have that friendships, And to be honest, there's going to be many things about Life Academy, but my favorite and my fondest one is the relationships these kids have with each other. Like I have a lot of IEP meetings before school starts. So at 8 a.m. I'll get there and we'll have IEP meetings 8 and 8:30. And the students sit outside of the Burton Business Center and they hang out with the teacher, and you just see their conversations with each other and just the fun and just the joy. Because a lot of these schools only have two or three students in their age group, and so they don't get to build those relationships. Now, at Life Academy this past year, we started with 43. This next year, we're going to start over 50. And so they just get to build these deep, deep relationships, and it's so awesome. So let's go to the next slide. So one of the, oh, moved a little too fast. Pre-employment transition services. This is a partnership between Calcasieu Parish School Board and Louisiana Rehab Services, Lake Charles regional offices. So we do vocational training, program preparing students for their future, job exploration, counseling, work-based readiness training, self-advocacy, work-based learning experiences. You can see their phone numbers there. We do a lot of job training and a lot of job sampling, and we ask the kids where you want to work, what do you want to do, what do we need to get there. They work on resumes, they work on interview questions, they do all that kinds of stuff. We go to different jobs every day. Um, I mentioned this earlier. To be with age appropriate peers, because think about it. Would you want a 21-year-old hanging out with a 14-year-old? Because that's what would happen, if they just stayed on their high school. um, to help foster new relationships and continue relationships with other peers, to meet same age peers in their class from around the parish, to give opportunities for students to be engaged in college groups and functions, to push their minds further. One of our students, he joined the BCM, and we don't push for that. He went to a Baptist church. He said, "Hey, I want to do that," and they get an ID. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a McNeese ID, and they get to go. They get to participate. They get to do stuff like that. The rec center is open. If they go, they can go with a family member or a personal assistant if they have one. They can go there anytime. Just bring their ID, and so it's just great. Independent living. They, learn life skills, folding clothes, washing dishes, cleaning up after yourself, personal hygiene, cooking, meal prep. You think they know personal hygiene by the time they get it. No, some of them just don't. And so we really work on that. We really work on what it's like to be presentable at a job. Financial management. This year, some of our students don't have a great support system at home. And so, one of our banks that we partner with this year, I said, "Hey, I have a student who needs help setting up a bank account." And so I brought him on by, and the bank set him up, and so we're working on that. They're learning how to do a bank account, learning how to do paychecks, paying bills, interest rates, savings. Will all the students use all this? Not all the students, but some of them will, and they learn and they understand. So when mom and dad have sit down, "Hey, this is why we can't do this," they understand it a little better. Um, Here we go. So so observe and learn under college professors alongside of CPSB teachers. Every year we go into a bunch of classrooms. CPSB teachers work daily with students on life and job skills, both in classroom setting and on the job training. The transition specialists, they come each week and work intensely on specific goals for job and transitioning. And the college staff, the teacher, both unofficially and officially to our students. Currently, some of our students are working on a real credential safe search manager. So a bunch of those we got the credentials. And then every day we have college students come in to our classrooms and they work as they're getting their student teacher hours. So we have lots of other teachers coming in. Career education with all the job training. We go to Rowdy's, which is the McNeese cafeteria, and the new cafeteria, if you haven't been there, it's fabulous. McNeese just stepped up the bar. I think it's better than going to LSU. So the students go there, they wipe tables, they sweep, they learn how, when like bussing tables at a restaurant, they get that full experience. We go to CPSB schools and we work, making copies or shredding stuff or cleaning or doing whatever it's called. They go to McDonald's and work. They go to the cart treasure chest and work. They go to Walmart and they unload and the Steins. They go to Walmart and Steins and they take pallets of stuff and they put it where it goes. They learn that stuff. Like this year, I was saying, do students know this? I took one of our students shopping this year and I was trying to get them to find stuff. And I realized they really need to learn the barcodes and how much stuff is. And so it's a pretty dip. And Mr. Rodney Harvey, our assistant superintendent, he started a print shop that we have that's housed by the school board that makes T-shirts and posters and all that. So the students, they get to learn how to do that. The Cowboy Closet is for McNeese students who want to get a job, and so our students go in there and they sort clothes and they get it ready because McNeese students can go there and get free clothes, and so it's pretty cool. And if I'm going fast, just I'll look at the questions in a second. I can't see my screen right now, so if there is a question, just somebody let me know. Career education with on-the-job training. Like I said, organizing, stocking shelves, printing documents, remembering multi-step processes, cleaning tables, sweeping. Steins, we had one of our students get a job at Steins this year in Sulphur. Another one of our students got a job at the Village Coffee Shop. Another one got a job at Walmart. So will help as much as possible, to get them a job. Independent living and coaching and modeling self-advocacy skills. Self-advocacy is the ability to articulate one's needs and make informed decisions about support necessary to meet those needs. It requires four important elements: knowledge of self, knowledge of rights, communication skills, and leadership skills. For people with one or more disabilities, including deaf people, an increase in self-advocacy skills contributes to an increased quality of life, sense of agency, and overall well-being. You know, so when we have our IEP meetings, our students come to these meetings. We want them to understand what's going on, what's happening, why is this happening, if possible. Sometimes the parents are like, yeah, but we want them to understand. We want them to understand why we're doing what stuff. But we want them to be able to speak up for themselves. Did I have any questions yet? I didn't see. Let's see the chat thing. Oh, what is the criteria for student? Okay, so that's a good question. I'll pause here and answer that. There's six criteria. They must be enrolled in a CPSB school because we're part of CPSB. Okay. They must have met all the Louisiana graduate requirements before entering Life Academy. So they have to be graduate. They must have met all that because we don't do English class, we don't do social studies, we don't do civics, we don't do any of that. So all of our students have already had a diploma, by the Louisiana graduation requirements. They must have a diagnosed significant developmental or intellectual disability. They must be in the job program at their home school making adequate progress there. So each of our high schools has a job program, so they have to be involved with that and doing well. They must be independent, for example, not needing assistance with the bathroom or such. Once in a while, we'll have a student have an accident, and that's okay. But we're using college bathrooms and we're going to job sites, so we don't have the luxury of a high school where they have the big bathrooms where somebody can go in with them. And lastly, they must not have any history of behavioral problems, and that's recent and big ones, because I'm like the principal, and so there's not like an office just to send somebody. So like if there's a behavior issue, which we've had a few over, this is our fourth year, we've had a couple, but like I'd have to drive over there, and so we got to make sure that we have students who are great ambassadors, and for the most part, we do. All of our students are just awesome. Okay, Danielle, I hope that answers. If you have more, please let me know. Okay, I'll try to keep looking back at this question thing. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, it's right here. I'm on that slide. I didn't even realize it. I'm into that slide. Okay. How do I move this out of the way? All right. So yeah. So there it is right there. I was covering it with the chat thing. Okay. Right. Go to the next one. What is considered significant? Okay, well, CPSB, we go by the state thing. If they're at a state school, they have to be qualified for Elite Connect. So that is it. They got to have a cognitive. So right now, so the old one, I imagine I'm going to wait on Amy's thing. Let me finish this one just so I don't look at it and get distracted. So, the state that I don't agree with, they changed the cognitive, the Leap Connect guidelines from a negative 2.0 to a negative 2.5. So our sophomores up are still under the negative 2.0, and then our freshmen are 2.5. So if they have a cognitive, IQ of negative 2.0 or higher, I mean, when I say yeah, so they qualify for, for our sophomores up. Okay. And then, so the freshman is where we're going to have a thing. And I would strongly advocate for all you that have people have children in that 2.0 to 2.5, advocate for the state to change it back. All right. So the next question here, Amy, you're the next question. Okay. Amy, my son has autism, bipolar, intellectual disability. He's on the third grade level and he's not progressed. He needs a program like this, but he does not. This is a 20-year-old program. The other program he probably would is Miss Letty's, and she's going to talk about it in a minute here. That's Prime. Okay. All right. And then Courtney, with a child that has high touch, we have, it still goes by the same thing. It has to be the cognitive thing. It has to have that. But if he has over, then he can apply to go be with Miss Letty in the Prime program. Okay. And so it all has to do with that because regular testers, the state of Louisiana and federal funding and all that, once they graduate in May, they're finished with high school. And so it's just the Leap Connect students that are able to come to Life Academy. Okay. All right. All right. A few of our field trips. We do lots of field trip. Um, we do lots of field trips because the thing about a school is, they have to request a bus and they have to do all that. We have buses every day. So they go everywhere. Every year, John Bridges, you can see Carson there. He's one of Letty's students. This was last year. But John Bridges has been excellent with our students. You guys probably all know John Bridges. And so every year we go to the radio station, and every year they get on the radio. The Gardens Assisted Living Home. We go on field trips there. The students, I mean, not the patients, the residents love our students coming, and so we go there a lot. And we go to the farm, we go to plays, they go out to eat. They go to CC's. So we have a bus, so we can just get on the bus and go. We have buses every day because our buses either bring us to work or they bring us to a field trip. Can you elaborate on the amount of independence? Okay, so the first thing, bathroom. They have to be fully independent in the bathroom, you know? And I'm not saying, like we have some students that once in a blue, I'm answering a question of some people like, where are you going with this? Erica, I'm hoping I'm saying your name right. She said, can you elaborate on the amount of independence needed for participants? Okay. So the bathroom is the big part. The bathroom is, can they manage their own stuff? And I'm not saying, the emergencies, because we've had girls had some accidents and then that's okay. I mean, if it's once in a while, either we'll have the stuff, then mom and dad will send the stuff and that the student will go in and change themselves or, if necessary, on an emergency thing, a teacher will go in, but we don't have the staff to do that. The other independence is, can they do the work? That's why they're in the job program. Can they do the job without hand over hand? And that's why, we started this year a monitoring form for the teachers to fill out and for if you're at an IEP meeting. So let's say you have a freshman that's in a Calhoun Parish School Board school. The teacher, it's brand new this year, so some of the teachers are still getting it. They go over the requirements and they go over how do we grow? How do we get your student to be independent by the time they graduate? Not fully independent, but just independent enough that they can manage. Can they go to Stein's and after like a month or two, can they know how to do the basic stuff that we're doing? And we're not doing super hard stuff, but can they, instead of just doing hand over hand, can they learn after a little bit? Okay, does that answer your question, Erica?
It says yes. It looks
Okay,
like it
okay,
answers the
all
question.
right,
Yeah.
perfect. All right. Oh, like I said earlier, they go to the rec center. They're involved in Special Olympics, and like I said, they when with this ID, You guys can bring them to the rec center. You guys, anything that a McNeese student can do, for the most part, our students can do, and you could bring them to these places. And so that's the awesome part. And they love going to the rec center. They ask me sometimes, Mr. Grant, can you come play basketball with us? They'll beat me sometimes, You know, I'm just trying to be a nice guy, but no, they really beat me. All right. Signing day. This is something we started 2 years ago. This is the third year. If you saw, yesterday was our first day of signing. I tried to make it, I want it to be special. So 3 years ago, we started this. And so yesterday we did Vinton High and we did Sulphur High, and it's just awesome. We try to celebrate just to make the kids feel special, and they love it. And this year we're doing something a little special at the end of it. So I can't let the cat out of the bag yet, but we're gonna have a for our students who are leaving, we're doing a little exit celebration. They already do a little party, but we're doing an exit celebration too. We have an end of the year celebration. End of the year celebrations at May 15th at 10 a.m. at the student union center. And ballroom C. That place is nice. And that's it. That's me and one of our graduates. Love them. Does anybody else have any questions?
So we did miss one in the listing earlier. Thank you for getting those as you went along. You were very talented. I don't know if I could do that. But the question was pertaining to the behavioral concerns.
Oh,
Her
okay.
question
I
was,
see it
you
now.
see it? Okay.
No, no. At the age of 3, no, no, no. These are. I'm talking about like recent ones within the last year or two. Because sometimes, you get a freshman, they get to high school, they're gonna have some behavior problems. Just because they're adjusting, they got hormones, all this stuff. But like the behavior thing is just more like within the last couple of years. Within the last year or so. You know what I mean? Mainly. And then I'll try to figure out what the root of it is. Because I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it's a staff member they're working with or something like that. They don't jive. Because we had one student, everybody said he's going to be a problem. He ain't never been a problem. You know what I mean? It's just how you love him and how he is. That student's doing great. You know what I mean? And let's say, oh, they need your next question. And then they never have an issue with, oh no, that's still part of it. No, they're not. That's definitely not. They're not excluded. No, ma'am.
So we do have one there toward the bottom about tuition.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So
he's-
we're 100% part of CPSB. So there is no tuition. The only thing you have to pay for is there's still like if let's say you live in Washington Marion District, you would still if Washington Marion requires registration fees, you would still pay those fees. And so IDEA pays for everything. I mean, I shouldn't say everything, almost everything, and Jay Bice, our partner at Ed, he pays for almost all the field trips we go on. Sometimes, this we'll go to like CC's Pizza or something, and so we'll tell the students to bring a little money. But one of the things, and this isn't a guarantee, but every year we have to do some paperwork for Louisiana Rehab Services for our students to get paid. And so they do get a little paycheck for when they work. And so they have that money, and then they can use that to pay for it. And then also, if your student does come to Life Academy and you have to deal with Social Security, please do not say they're attending McNeese. Please say that they're attending whatever high school they're registered at, because you will have issues and they'll say what program and all that kind of stuff, and then it just creates a little drama. I think Social Security is getting used to us now, but at the beginning it was kind of crazy. Okay. Oh yeah, I see you there. All right. And then hey, if you want my email is jeremy.grant@cpsb.org. And then if you want my cell phone number, but don't be texting me at like 11:30 at night. Just kidding. No, don't really be texting me. My phone number is 337-888-0090. So 888-0090. And so the last transportation, 100% provided by the school board. That's a good question. I didn't talk about that. So our hours are 8:30 to 2. So like if you go to Sam Houston High School, the Sam Houston bus will come pick up all the Sam Houston high school students, bring them back to Sam Houston, like the ones who haven't come to Life Academy. Then they'll go back, pick up your son or daughter, bring them to Life Academy. So they'll probably come to your house around 7:30, 7:40. And then they'll drop them off around 8 to 8:30, and then they'll pick them up at 2 and bring them back to your house. Okay, so again, there's no cost.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. I know you did that very quickly. I know you're trying to be sensitive to our other presenters, so thank you so much
Yes,
for being
ma'am.
so thorough. You're getting a lot of love there in the chat. So we will, are you going to be able to stick around a few minutes just in case
Yes,
something else
ma'am.
comes
Yes,
up?
ma'am. Yes,
Fantastic.
ma'am.
Okay. Krista, I don't know if you and Letty want to like thumb war or something to decide who goes next. Um, I want to watch if y'all do, but we can stop sharing and pick up from here. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for being here and
Yes,
for
ma'am. Did I
sticking
stop
around.
sharing? I don't even know if I did.
It doesn't look like it, but Zoom is kind of funny. Uh, well, Letty, are you able to share? Is it letting you share? Want to try to
Let
share?
me see.
Looks like it's gonna work.
Can y'all see that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, what view do y'all see? Do y'all see like the presentation itself, or do y'all see
So
the
we have
present?
the notes or the speaker view right
Okay.
now.
Can I switch them? It's because I have two monitors. Let's see.
I have to unplug mine. I can't even figure it out. You're probably smarter than I am, though. So
Oh, I don't know about that. Not with technology. Um, Hang on. Let me stop my screen share. Let's see. It won't even. Okay. I stopped my screen share. Let me try again.
Lady, I don't mind one of us running it. That way you see your notes or whatever. If you want
Yeah.
us to share it, we could do that if you're not able to get it.
Okay, let me see. Let me try one more time.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm guessing y'all see the slideshow.
Right. And you just should just run it. Okay, now we see the prevent interview still.
So y'all see the presenter view?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hide presenter view. Can y'all see the regular now?
And no, right now it's just the it's before you run the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so hit from beginning.
From beginning?
Yeah, like see on the PowerPoint
I
thing?
did, and that's what it brings up.
Hmm.
And it brings up, it puts presenter view.
Can you
But
drag your presenter view to the other screen
um,
and let it show the slideshow in the other?
I tried that, and then it didn't work, I don't think. Uh, Wait a second. How was that?
we got
That's correct. You got it.
Yay! I did it. Okay. Now I can't see myself, so I don't know where I'm looking, so I'm very sorry. Okay.
Well, we see you good. You're okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh, okay, so is everybody ready?
we're ready.
All right. So now I got to figure out how. Okay, did that forward the slide for y'all?
Yes, ma'am. We're on.
Oh, okay. I'm ready. Okay. Okay, so I'm Letty Goings. I'm the director. Oh, did y'all need to say anything else? I'm sorry. I just took it and ran with it.
You are good to go.
Okay. I'm Letty Goings. I'm the director of McNeese Prime. And I, maybe going second might be a little confusing, piggybacking off of Mr. Grant with the CPSB Life Academy, but it's okay. We're going to get through it. And I'm going to do my best to answer questions. And I will say that for super specific questions, it might be best just to contact me directly. Because it might just be a situation where maybe I have more information to present and we can talk through it. Things won't get lost in translation. So I will throw that caveat out there. For super specific instances, it might just be best to contact me directly, and I will put up my contact information at the end of this presentation. But I'm the director of McNeese Prime, and this has been a very long time coming. We've been working on building this for a very long time, a labor of love. A little background about me by trade, I guess you could say. I've been a behavior analyst, so I've been a board certified behavior analyst since 2014. I got my undergrad degree at McNeese. I got my master's degree at McNeese, and I worked at the McNeese Autism Program up until taking over for McNeese Prime last year. So I have been at McNeese for a very long time. I love working at the university. I love working at McNeese. I loved my job at the autism program, and I love my job at Prime. So I do have quite a bit of experience using ABA, specifically for adolescents and young adults as it relates to social skills, independent living skills, things like that. I did run some social groups over the years in the summer times at the McNeese Autism Program. So this is kind of the age group that I really love. They're fun. Young adults, older adolescents, they're great. They are finding their way in the world, and I think it's fantastic. I think that they have a lot. They have a lot to give society too. And I think if we just give them that chance, people would be surprised at how rewarding it is to spend your time with young adults and older adolescents. So that's a little bit about me. I currently, right now, McNeese Prime, it's just me. We are going to grow as the program grows. But right now, it's just me. I do my best to keep on top of emails, phone calls. So there's that disclaimer as well. So, and I do get a lot of questions when I'm out and about, well, what's the difference between Life Academy and McNeese Prime? Well, McNeese Prime is a 2-year comprehensive transition program. So it has a CTP designation, and that designation, we had to write an application to the U.S. Department of Education. We submitted that. They approved us, that we have the CTP approval. McNeese Prime is an approved program through the U.S. Department of Education, and it is specifically for college. So you enroll in college. This would be the next step after Life Academy if a student chooses to pursue that further. We focus on the acquisition of functional academics. So again, Mr. Grant talked about this, with Life Academy. We're not writing research papers. We're not citing our sources. We're not doing things like that, but we want anything that we do academically to have functionality. So how is this going to serve them in adulthood? How is this going to serve them in their journey to become as independent as possible? So functional academics, independent living skills, career development skills, social skills, leisure skills, health and wellness skills. And this is all, again, at the university setting. And Mr. Grant brought up this really good point. This is what I've been saying to parents and to people that I meet in the community. what better place to have these students meet people? College. Where else are you gonna find a large group of people with some common interests, similar age, college? This is the time. This is now. This is the place. And our overall goal is to give these students the tools that they need to become as self-sufficient as possible, as independent as possible. We know that looks different for every student, but what does that look like for this particular student? What does that look like for this particular student? We want to give them the tools that they need to be successful, while also giving them a college experience that's going to enrich them too. We don't require them to do every single thing that a college student is doing, but their experience is what they make it. They also get student IDs. They get to go free admission into sporting events. They get to go. This last week we had spring fling, which is a big thing. They were able to participate in all the student activities, and then the biggest thing for spring fling is the free crawfish. Free crawfish on Thursday. They got to go get their free pound of crawfish if they wanted it. They had to show their McNeese ID. If they want to go play basketball on the rec, they can do that. They just have to have their ID. So they are able to do anything that a college student can do, conceivably. We have some main areas of focus. One of our areas of focus is gainful employment. We want them to be able to be better prepared to seek employment when they leave the program. We're going to focus on skills that are necessary to be successful in the workplace. And sometimes that looks like soft skills. Sometimes that looks like skills that we don't always think of offhand, those really nuanced skills. Social skills, etiquette type stuff. We also have been dabbling in resume development as well. We are giving them the tools that they need to have a template of a resume that they can update as they get job experience, volunteer experience, more education experience. We're learning about all of that right now in one of our classes. Social skills. So again, this goes back to what better place to practice learning social skills and to learn the appropriate social skills than in a college. This is where you're going to find the most individuals, again, with things in common and age groups and common interests and common goals here at college. And we know that these social skills are going to follow them throughout their lives, and across other settings. So not just here at McNeese, but when they're out and about, when they're at church, when they're at their jobs, when they're doing their volunteer work or whatever it is that they want to do for fun. We want those things to follow them around. Independent living skills. So McNeese Prime is using materials and curricula from the James Stanfield Company, the Council for Exceptional Children. We're using stuff to make sure that we are trying to check as many boxes as we can as it relates to independent living skills and what they would be expected to do out in the world. And again, going back to the level of independence and autonomy, that's going to look different for every student. But where are we meeting these students? Meeting them where they are, checking the boxes that are super relevant for them. So that's going to range from basic money management, how to pay a bill, what all goes into that? What all are those other little nuanced things that maybe we didn't think of that might be tricky for some individuals? And we try to tailor these to the needs of each student. Again, Prime is brand new, so we are learning things as we go. What might be relevant today might not be relevant in 5 years. We might have to pivot at certain points, but again, this is a new program and we're going to get there. Quality of life. We want to make sure that we set them up for having the best quality of life that they can get, the best, whatever they want in life, self-worth, self-esteem, making sure that we are setting them up to achieve those. Again, the autonomy and the independence, that's going to look different for every student, but we for sure want them to be set up to have a really meaningful quality of life, giving them something to work towards for when they leave here that will give them a sense of purpose, give them a sense of belonging in their community. So a little bit about the program itself. What do the students do? So students are going to audit McNeese courses. They do not get a letter grade. They audit the course. We generate learning contracts for each student. And the learning contract is based on the course that the student enrolls in, the syllabus that the instructor provides, and the skills of the student. We generate goals on that learning contract, and that student signs the contract. The instructor signs the contract. I sign the contract. Everyone knows what everyone's responsible for. These contracts keep accountability for the students. They're not getting a letter grade, but this is how we maintain accountability. So they're going to audit 2 to 3 courses, at least 6 hours a semester. And I say 2 to 3 courses because sometimes a course might be 2 credit hours per semester and we have to add another course. We make it work. But 2 to 3 courses. We try to select courses that are based on the students' interests and what they like to do and their abilities. In addition to the audited coursework, the students also have to have at least 6 hours of prime specific coursework. So in the prime classroom, we're working on those areas of focus: the employment, the social skills, the independent living skills, the career readiness skills, things like that. So 2 to 3 courses with their peers at McNeese, and then 2 courses of prime. That's in 1 semester. And I got ahead of myself, so they don't get grades, but we do the learning contracts for the McNeese audited coursework. And then at the end of the semester, the instructor for the student's audited coursework is going to complete an evaluation rubric for that student in that course. And those evaluation rubrics are returned to me. I also complete progress rubrics for the students in the prime courses. At the end of the semester, the student has all of the evaluation rubrics showing that they completed the course, how they did, what their performance was, and the funding sources, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. The funding sources use those as a gauge for did they complete the courses or not. So that's what we do in lieu of grades. The prime program is 2 years. It's a 2-year program, and at the end of the 2 years, the students will get a certificate of completion, and they will walk at commencement with their peers. McNeese Prime is housed in the College of Liberal Arts. So we haven't had a cohort graduate. That will be in what year are we in? 2020. We'll have a cohort graduate in 2027. So I'm guessing that Prime will be at one of the commencement ceremonies wherever the College of Liberal Arts does their commencement. So in the second and final year of Prime, the students are still going to take their audited coursework and their prime coursework, but we're adding a supervised internship. They can do this internship on campus or out in the community. So we are navigating that process right now with our current cohort. They will be starting this in the fall. So we're navigating that process of making contacts out in the community. Who wants to, who would be willing to have these students do an internship there, really building our contacts and really putting a face with a name with Prime, getting it out in the community and community support and things like that. There are several options for a student to complete an internship on campus as well, which I'm also excited about. Getting, more involved on campus and meeting new people and getting involved in other departments. Okay, yeah. So they complete the program. They're going to earn a certificate of completion. They receive their certificate at commencement with their peers. So we're excited about that. They'll have their regalia, cap and gown, all those things. So as with any other college program, you're going to have tuition, fees. So the tuition per semester at McNeese is $4,500 per semester. The fees are $675 per semester, and then there is a prime fee per semester on top of that, which is $2,500. Total cost per semester is $7,675. I'm not trying to scare people with the costs, but this is information that I want y'all to have up front, because there's also funding available. So Louisiana Rehabilitation Services will cover costs associated with attending a CTP minus what federal financial aid won't cover. So our students who are admitted into the program, they have to do their McNeese application and then they fill out a FAFSA. Some students are eligible for Pell Grants, other federal aid. Some students are not. LRS is going to want to know yes or no. If a student is eligible for federal aid, LRS will pay what the federal aid does not. If a student's not eligible, they want to know that too. So, to my knowledge, students that have gone through the LRS to get payment for this program, it has covered costs associated with attending the program. So there are funds available for these types of programs. So I mentioned previously that McNeese Prime students have access to pretty much everything else that the students have access to. They can go to the library. They can check out books from the library. They can print in the library. They can use a computer. They can use the Right to Excellence Center for, assignments that they might have to do for their audited coursework if that's on their learning contract. They can use the new cafeteria, which is really cool, by the way. Mr. Grant is not exaggerating. It's brand new. It's very nice. It is the very nice student union complex. And the students are free to go over there and use that complex. Free admission into athletic events. Also, the intramural sporting events. That was something that I had to get some information on because I was never really sure what that meant. And so basically, it's like rec sporting events for college, which is really cool. But they would get access to being on an intramural team, or if they wanted to start a team, they could do that. They can go use the rec complex as long as they have their student ID. They have access to all those things. We do require participation in at least one social event per semester. And I have pulled them in to do tabling events. If we do something on campus and we are having a prime table, I try to pull students who are available and are on campus, if their schedule permits. I do also kind of require them when there are events out in the quad or in the ballroom where maybe community entities are present. I have them go make contact with at least 5 or 6 of those entities, have them sign on the paper. Just to show that they're getting out on campus and getting involved and seeing other faces and stuff like that. Additionally, when they become students at McNeese, they get a student email, a student ID number, and with all of that information, they get their own Outlook email account, and then they get to use Canvas, which is it used to be called Moodle. It's Canvas now, but that's the online interface, where an instructor will post materials and things like that. They get access to that. And then they get access to all of the Microsoft Office apps. So Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Excel, all those things. They can use all that to complete their assignments and to do whatever it is they need to do. So they get access to all of that as students. This is our first day of school in August. This is our first cohort. This is class of 2027. We have 7. That's a pretty good number for a first group. They're great. I love them all. They're fantastic. I try to incorporate group work as much as I can. I try to group them up, pair them up, have them work with each other. That's good practice. Working collectively, and just helping each other out. That's good practice too, because we all get in the zone and we forget that there are other people that we could be helping with what we're doing. And so it's good practice to get them out of their own head and out of their own world to help other people. I try to incorporate group work as much as I can in the prime classroom. I try to incorporate hands-on as much as I can in the prime classroom to make it relevant. Sometimes the stuff that we're learning is just kind of dry and we just have to get through it In the prime classroom, I'm able to tailor the materials for the students based on um, accommodations that they might need. So maybe that looks like guided notes with fill in the blanks as I'm talking, and the other students might be taking notes. Maybe that looks like highlighting as we go on those guided notes. Just depends. But I'm able to troubleshoot that pretty well in the classroom. Oh, there's our hands-on instruction. We were working on making schedules in this picture. We were learning about how to schedule your time, how to block off your time and see, your available times. This is a snapshot from one of the kinesiology courses from last semester. This was from our homecoming float. We had a really good time at homecoming. I hope that this year, we have to get a bigger float for more room. But it was fun. We had a good time. The students had a really good time. And oh, this is my contact info. So I check my email very frequently. You can reach me at my McNeese email, or you can reach me at the Prime McNeese email address, and then my office number is listed. Like I said, I am one person. I try to stay on top of everything as much as I can, but sometimes things do fall through the cracks. So, don't be afraid to circle back or follow up with me if you hadn't heard back. And then we also have social media. So we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, and we have the McNeese webpage, which is where you can find some more information about Prime. Our Facebook page is a lot more active than our Instagram page. Just throwing that out there, but we do have both. On the web page, you'll find information about prerequisites and skills needed, but you'll also find a copy of the application. The application is hefty, and the application must be completed and submitted before any interview gets scheduled or takes place or anything like that is considered. The window for applications is closing. This is our first time navigating this open application period. So we know, what to do for when we want to open it up for the next application period. So the window is closing. If your application doesn't get submitted for now, it will likely be considered for next year. And the ages of enrollment are 18 to 26. And so I just want to make sure that, y'all know that there's time. If you've got an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, and they want to work, maybe they don't want to go right into a program like this, that's fine too. They can get some experience and do that and then apply in a year or two. There's time. It's a 2-year program, and I think that's the end of my presentation. So let me stop that.
There are a couple of things in the chat. I don't want to short Krista. For those of you who are here and participating, know that I've allocated an hour and a half. I don't want you to stay if you can't stay, but please do if you can. And again, we're recording, so you'll be able to access this later from our YouTube. Quickly, Letty, there's a question in the chat about high school, Life Academy, Prime. Is that the natural progression? Do they overlap at any time? It's a good question.
That is a good question. So I have not been making Life Academy a prerequisite because we're going to have students applying who come from private schools. But I don't know that they would overlap. Right, Mr. Grant?
No, I don't think it overlap. And
No.
and then sometimes there's unique situations. Miss Gasper, do you want to tell us about a unique situation?
Hi. Yes, thank you. So, are you talking about my personal situation? Yes. Okay. Right now I'm speaking on terms of a parent of a student with disabilities that's about to graduate from high school in 2 weeks. And, she's a little bit higher functioning. She does have cognitive disability and autism, a few other things going on as well. But for her and her health conditions, we didn't feel that she was going to be motivated to go to college for more than a few years. So she's almost 19 at this point, about to graduate. And so we decided to just go ahead and apply straight for the Prime program. I know she's going to be willing to give it the 2 years that's needed for that part. And for her, I feel like they will be able to meet her where she is now and help her continue to grow from there, to get her where we want her to be when she's done with Prime, to where hopefully she'll be able to have a part-time job doing something that she enjoys and something that she's going to be able to be successful with. So in my situation, we chose not to apply for life. We chose to just go directly into the Prime program.
Thank you for highlighting the connection and the personal, because that makes it make more sense for me. Hopefully others can relate as well. Letty, it looks like Ellie's wanting to network in the chat. Like there's she was sending you some love earlier too. So
She's next door. I'll go talk to her.
Yeah, yeah. So I know there's a question about whether or not the time schedule is the same as Life Academy. And then you mentioned the application window, maybe when it closes, if you want to take care of that. And then Krista, I'd love to hear, love to segue into your information as well.
So the schedule is tough to answer because one, I have to schedule the Prime classes in the holes of the students' audited coursework. So I have to make sure the students are registered for their audited coursework, and then I have to put that on a schedule, and then I have to schedule Prime in the holes of that. So I can't say, oh, this program runs 8 to 4 every day, because that may not be true. A student can have a class scheduled at any time of the day, really, and their schedules are going to be dependent on what that final schedule ends up being. So if a student has mostly Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, then, that's gonna, there's no short answer for this question. It just depends on the student's schedule, really. And that it's college. You schedule the class at the time that you can, and then you schedule your other class, and then you get your Prime. And so some students might luck out and get, only Tuesday, Thursday courses by some stroke of fortune. But then you might have a student who has a smattering of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we've got some Prime classes sprinkled in there Tuesday, Thursday, so they might have to come 5 days a week. It really depends on the schedules. But the program is Monday through Friday. I mean, I am here Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So they're free to come and go like college students. We do have some students who kill time in between. They might have an hour and a half break between classes. Some of them all have kind of the same time break, and they'll go get coffee in the coffee shop, and they'll go hang out with our peer mentor. They'll go sit in the student union, or they'll go sit in the quad. So they all go hang out and kill time together. So there are things to do. Even if a student does have a break in between classes, there's plenty to do and go see, and ways to occupy the time. Usually I have the Prime classroom opened up if they want to sit in there. I have a student who works on homework in between classes, and that's just, they all are into different things. So the schedule it's tough to give an answer on up front. So it's largely dependent on the students' courses that they register for and where Prime ends up being scheduled. The application window, great question. Moving forward, it is likely going to open early November and close like early spring, like February. So that's a pretty large window to get applications in. and completed, and then scheduling interviews, which are required for the family and the student to attend. So that's likely what it's going to be moving forward. So we're working out all of our kinks right now, finding the things that did go well, and some of as it related to the application process. So that will likely be what it is moving forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Krista, best for last, I guess, right? Yeah. Thank you so much, Letty.
I don't know that I would say that, but I will take it. So hello, my name is Krista Gaspard. I'm the director of the Office of Accessibilities here at McNeese. As I talked a few minutes earlier, I also have my own children with disabilities, so it's really, a big part of my heart. I'm so happy to have Life Academy and Prime program here at McNeese, and for me to be able to be here too. So what we do is we provide services for students that have a documented disability that's recognized by the Americans with Disabilities Act. So for our services, it's a little bit different than Life Academy or Prime Academy. Our students that we serve are students that come in the traditional manner. They've graduated from high school, got their diploma, earned all of their high school credits that were required. They apply to McNeese and they've been accepted into McNeese. Once they've been accepted into McNeese and have their class schedule, then they can go on our website and register as a new student with us. We've tried to make the process a lot easier and smoother by having our registration on our webpage, which is on the slide that's showing. We do ask that students don't register for the semester until like a week or two before the classes actually start for that semester. Just because, especially for fall, for example, we have a lot of professors that if they don't teach during the summer, they're off campus for the summer and they do not return until like the week before classes start. So I can't send out accommodations to those professors too soon. So I like for everyone to wait until at least a week or two before classes actually start to go on our website and register with us. Once they do that, then they go on to our website, they complete the registration information. They do have to have documentation of their disability. And so that can either be a letter from their doctor that states their diagnosis, or if they had a 504 plan or an IEP plan in high school, I can also take that as well. And so when they go on our website to register, they complete all the information questions. They can upload those documents within that registration submission. Or if it's too difficult to do that part, maybe you don't have an electronic copy of it or whatever, then they can either email me the copy or they can just bring it into my office whenever they come in to meet with me. Just for example, we had almost 240 students registered with us in the fall. This semester, we've got about 190 students registered with us. And disabilities of our students range from anything from ADHD, anxiety, autism, diabetes, epilepsy, just so many different things. Anything that is diagnosed or documented that can affect them in the learning environment. Our goal is to remove the barriers that their disability presents to them so that they can be successful in their learning while they're here at McNeese and, complete their degree and be successful in whatever they're trying to achieve. So just for example, some possible accommodations that are very common accommodations, extended time to complete their tests. A lot of our students get that accommodation and typically it's time and a half. So if the class has an hour to complete it, they would have up to an hour and a half to complete it. Distraction reduced testing environment. In high school, that's called small group testing. Well, in college, we call it a distraction reduced testing environment. We have a testing center that is separate from my office, but we work very closely together because a lot of my students do go test in there. And it's just a room where they can go test where there's no distractions like in the typical classroom would be. We do have a few students that have sign language interpreters. Note-taking technology, we have a grant that's actually paid for some technology that quite a few of our students use to help them with note-taking in the classroom. You know, back in the day, we had actual note takers that were in the classroom taking notes. We don't really do that anymore. We've kind of moved more towards the technology side of things. So that's a really cool thing that we have. You know, every student is different. And so just because they have the same diagnosis does not mean that they're going to need the same accommodations. And so it is all individualized and it's all based on, you know, their individual needs as to what they're going to qualify for. But once they go online to our website and they register, it will come through to my email and I'm going to contact them to come in and meet with me so that we can talk about what their needs are, verify what their classes are for that semester, and I can kind of show them the whole process of how everything works, how to schedule to take their exams, and all of that kind of information. We also have a Canvas page that we just started just for our students too, to where I can send them notifications that are important for my students. Like, for example, our students receive priority registration. And so that's kind of a big deal for a lot of our students. And so we just started where we can send them notifications through Canvas for important things like that they would want to know about. We're located in the Burton Business Center on the second floor. And our email is up there, accessibility@mcneese.edu. Our phone number, 475-5916. You're also welcome to email me if you have any questions, call me if you have any questions, or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any remaining questions? Thank you to everyone that stayed on this long. I think the information from each of the presenters was thorough and fantastic and very relevant. We have great people in our area and some good resources too, some great resources. I of course can't see the chat because oh yes. Some love in the chat from Mr. Grant and from others. Okay, so I do see, is it possible to get all the, yes, we will send, I did get resources from our presenters that I can send to everyone that's participated in an email. I'll take care of that soon. What you'll also get is a link to our evaluation survey. It's helpful to our presenters as well as to us for us to understand what you need as professionals and family members of people with disabilities. So if you can put any interests or questions in that survey, that evaluation survey, that would be great. So any last minute questions? Thank you again, Jeremy and Letty and Krista. These guys are committed. If you didn't gather that from their presentations, I just want to tell you they are. I don't know how any of them do what they're doing. And also make themselves available to us to make sure that this information gets out to families. But we're certainly lucky to have them. It was terrific. Okay. And I thank you in the chat to you guys from several of the participants. Okay. Well, thank you again, everybody, for participating. Thank you to Letty and to Krista and to Jeremy for the incredible things you're doing in our community and for making yourselves available today to make sure people understand what's offered. I do see a question about how does extracurricular work after high school? So maybe are you referring to the different things that Letty mentioned in her presentation? Or are you talking about just general recreation, Cassandra? I know that I know that they've all made them general. Okay. So they've all made contact information available. Um, I have a last PowerPoint slide for families helping families. That's something that we could talk about one on one. But there are things in our community that are available to individuals, to families that have individuals with disabilities. Feel free to call us. Wallace does a lot of the transition work in our office. Jeremy evidently has something to add, so I'll let him speak to that as well.
Yeah, we never had it before. I don't know if Cassandra's asking this, but like I said earlier, like if they go, like I'm at Sulphur High right now, as you can probably tell from behind me. But like, let's say they're a Sulphur High student, and they're coming to Life Academy and they ran track for Coach Judge and they came to us. Well, there's a couple things. First, you got to make sure you have the LHSAA or, all that stuff that they
Mhm.
go by that if they're on the track. But if Coach Judge says that they can still do track, they're still a Sulphur High student. And so that's that, what I mean? But they would just have to figure out a way to get to track and all that. And same as band, band doesn't have any of that stuff. But, if they wanted to be part of their high school, McNeese, Letty would probably say, but I don't, I don't know. Letty's going to have to answer that one. I think maybe they might be able to be a manager or something like that, but Letty's going to have to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not something that we have, that's not a bridge that we have crossed yet. So I don't know how that would work. I would think that as university students, they would be able to be part of, for sure, like Mr. Grant had mentioned earlier, a student joining the BCM. Well, there are a lot of student organizations that a prime student would be able to join. But for like the marching band and things like that, I would think that there would have to be, some kind of process to get a student involved with an organization like that. Because I know, certain organizations like marching band, for instance, they're going to have an audition process and things like that. So I don't know what that would look like. Again, that's a bridge we haven't crossed, and it's probably a bridge we will cross when our path comes to it. I don't know, but for sure there are student organizations on campus that prime students would be able to join if that was something they were interested in. Lots of like the Catholic Student Center, the BCM, campus outreach, there's a lot of that. And then there's also like pre-vet society. Um, there's a history club, there's an art club, there's things that, students would have the options to join.
Well, let's strategize. Like clearly Krista's here for that. Letty and Jeremy also. I didn't think about the aspect that Jeremy brought up. Letty, I don't know how, but she's willing to take all the things on, and that may change as their program continues to grow since she's a one-woman show right now. Let's talk about it here, with someone in our office as well, if you still have questions about what's out there and what can be done. Because there's no reason that your student can't participate in the same extracurricular or general activities, at least as everyone. Let's just talk about it so that I can understand better what you're asking and we can get you some good answers. But anything else? I have our contact information here. Wallace has kindly put the evaluation survey link in the chat. You'll get that in an email as well. Thank you again, guys, for hanging out this long, and to our speakers for presenting. If there are additional questions, please let us know. And like I said, we'll get the resources out to you in an email when this is over. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and for giving us your time, and to all of our participants today. Have a great afternoon. Please fill out our evaluation survey, and we'll get you the information you need quickly. Thanks so much.